Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Well, I'm back at you with another comment video. Top 10 comments of June. Well, good news. I'm going to be able to ride probably this weekend. My ankle is to a point now where I can walk on it with my own weight. I don't need to use crutches or a walker or my knee scooter. So I should be able to get a ride in this weekend. So I'm charging my batteries, and I think we'll finally have a new ride that you'll probably see next week. It takes a while to process them, as you know. But anyway, today's going to be Saturday. I'll release this on Saturday morning. This is, I like reading comments, and my channel gets a lot of good comments, and that's great. You guys are really good about that, and I like the engagement factor. I say this all the time. There's a lot of channel creators out there that they don't even comment on anybody, but to me, that's half the fun of a YouTube channel. I don't know. That's just me. I've always been in customer service my entire life, so I appreciate that back and forth and that engagement where other people are just strictly creators. They don't like to deal with the audience or anything, and that's perfectly fine. I think I waste a lot of time doing this, but I enjoy it. So you got to do what you enjoy in life, right? So anyway, I like to read the comments, and I like to expand on the comments a little bit. And that's why you see these videos. So for the month of June, it's June, right? Yeah, June. I'm going to read the first comment here that I picked 10 because I can't go through them all, but I do the top 10 that kind of strikes me the most and gives me the most interest, and I can comment a little deeper on them. So the first one is from Bob Was My Cat. Nice name, Bob Was My Cat. That's funny. So I talk about in a video where I ride and I bounce off this limiter when I get to about 67. You guys have seen it too on some of the scooters. It'll hit this, it'll bounce like, what's going on? Well, here's what Bob had to say about that. Thanks again, Bob. You're hitting the rev limit. That feeling of bouncing is correct. The spark is being cut to limit RPM. Lighten the rollers and stiffen the contra. Okay, that's the recommendation. Sounds backwards, but try it, and you're welcome. Thanks, Bob. So then he lists 13 gram, and poly contra. Look, guys, I think that's a tension spring, the contra he's talking about. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. So what this will do, if you follow that and you put in 13 gram rollers, I guess, with that poly contra tension spring, I got it right? Higher top speed and acceleration with no engine mods at all. Enjoy. So again, I'm not going to list, and I researched eBay a little bit for this stuff. I know Scooter Swap Shop has them, but basically Bob's saying yes, if you mess with the rollers and stiffen the contra, whatever that means. I'm not going to go there, but yeah, that seems to help with maybe higher acceleration, or not acceleration, but top speed. Again, I say this all the time. I don't need to go any faster than 67. I don't even like going 67. If I wanted to go faster, I would have bought a sport bike or something to get a really high, insane speed. My sweet spot on this ride is between 0 and 40 miles an hour. I just like taking life easy and slow. As you know, I do a lot of back road subdivision rides. I mean, that's half the fun of this thing. I don't want to get on a highway and go 100 miles an hour. I have no interest in that. But there's some people that buy these scooters and they make all these modifications, and oh boy, I can get to 70 now or 75 after spending all this money and time. I'm like, okay, whatever floats your boat, but why don't you just buy a bigger bike? Or not a bigger, but faster bike, you know what I mean? Anyway, enough of that. But anyway, Bob, good point. Bob Was My Cat, thank you, and I appreciate the comment. So the second content comes from, is it Marquis School? You guys got some interesting names for your YouTube account. Anyway, I'm 64. I sold my Harley Road King a few months ago. Thought my riding days were over. Been riding bikes since I was 8 years old. Wow, it's a long time. I just acquired a 2022 Honda ADV 150 with 400 miles on it for a little more than half the price at retail. I love it. I ride it every day where I only rode the Harley maybe once or twice a week. It became too much of an ordeal. I extended my riding for years. Bingo, that's the key. And this is why I'm such an advocate about these smaller displacement, lighter bikes, because, you know, people used to make fun of those, and people would always expect like you need a big, heavy, 800-900 pound bike to be officially called, own a motorbike or something silly. It's like, you know what? Whatever you enjoy. I'm 58. There's a lot of you that watch my channel that are a lot older than me still, and they're still riding. I had, if you check out the comment video last month, I forget the gentleman's age, but it was a lot more than 64, but I can't remember what it was now. But anyway, people are extending the rides, and they're just getting more enjoyment out of life. And that's what the key is. Hey, we're all here for a reason. No matter what reason it is, we might as well have fun, because I think when we pass, we're all going to be in a better place anyway. So enjoy it while you can. That's what I think. And then riding a bike is enjoyable if you can ride that bike in confidence, and it's light enough, maneuverability is good, and you just enjoy it. And that's what these smaller bikes are all about. So, but anyway, Mark was saying that he got one for a practically brand new, 400 miles, about half the price of retail. See, I tell you guys all the time, if you want a bike like this or any motorbike, check the used market first, because you can get some really sweet deals. Save half the price of a bike, easy. So again, thanks Mark for hope it's Mark. Thanks for the comment, 64. I'm a little younger, but I'm catching up. Now, I'll never catch you fully, right? Anyway, keep enjoying the bike, and I'm glad you're extending your riding years, and that's the whole point of all this. So, take care. You know what I just realized? It's not Marky's school. Mark is cool. My God, it took like 5 minutes to comprehend that. Oh my gosh, I still need a lot of this. Okay, I need a lot more coffee. Mark is cool. Nice name, by the way. My goodness. Okay, guys, so the third comment here from Lou Rayo. Hope I'm saying that right. I'm bad at pronouncing names. I apologize. Couldn't even figure out the last one until it dawned on me. Anyway, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I'll start it off. Awesome video. I subscribe. Thanks, Lou. I appreciate that. That said, recently made a 2024 Piaggio BV400 purchase at $10K. Okay. Well, he goes on to basically say it was not a smart decision. Because when you start riding bikes, you don't know until you ride them enough, So for him, I'm gathering the longer trips were not comfortable. And he goes on to say, you can read it here when you go to the comment section. But yeah, I think his complaint was spending $10K on something that didn't fit the bill, and sadly that happens. So the whole point of this comment was to research. That's why I drill this stuff to my audience so much. I mean, you don't know till you buy something. Don't go out and just buy a bike because it looks nice. And I know, he said most shops don't allow test rides. I agree, Lou, and that's very frustrating. Because if you can't ride a bike, how in the world are you going to know? I mean, at least you could sit on them, you could get up close and personal, but until you really ride one, it is tough. I mean, who would go buy a car, or any vehicle for that matter, without doing a test drive? You just don't really do that in life. So I don't know why these dealers, I know why they do it, but it's a shame that most motorbike dealers don't allow you to ride the bikes. I think that's a travesty. I really think that's unacceptable. And I don't know if every dealer's the same, but tell you what, I would not buy a bike from that dealer unless they let me ride it. But here's the key. They will, but you got to have your motorcycle license, okay? I think that's the only stipulation. Now, if you still have I think you might even have to have your temps. I'm not sure, but when I bought my bike, I couldn't ride it yet. You know why? Or could I? You know what? I can't even remember. I don't think they were allowing me to ride it, even though I had my temporary permit, if I think back now. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so he spent $10K on this Piaggio BV400, and it's just not comfortable for him. So then he goes on to say he wants to get the Kymco AK550. I'm not real familiar with that one, but it's just designed a little different for that kind of helps with longer and shorter rides. So hopefully, Lou, you get that one day. But yeah, it's a sad fact that sometimes we buy bikes, and after owning them for a little while, it's just not what we thought it was. It happens. We're all human. But I just wish dealers would let you ride bikes more, testing them. But even on a quick 20-minute test ride, you're really not riding it long enough to really know if it's going to work out for you, you know. You gotta, a sad fact that you just gotta own it one day, and then that's why there's so many bikes that are bought and sold, because after you own them for a while, you realize, I want something different. Hey, we're human, right? But anyway, thanks, Lou, for the comment and the subscription, and we'll see you later. Well, as most of you know, this next comment is about the injury that I had. You know, I wish I could give you like a really cool story about how I broke my ankle in 3 places. Actually, the bone kind of came through a little bit, and they didn't really consider it a compound fracture, although it was, because I guess there's a stipulation. If they do not see bone when, I guess it's in the ER, they're not going to consider it a compound. I don't know. I said I saw bone because when I fell, and when I got up, my foot just flopped to the right. My right foot flopped to the right, like just a sock. And that was not good. And then I saw some white protruding through the skin on my ankle on the top side. I would say that's a compound, but labels are labels. I don't really care. The point is, I got it taken care of. I had surgery about a day and a half later, which was, sitting there in pain for a day and a half was crazy. I guess they couldn't get me in that quickly. I don't know. Anywho, so I want to read a comment from Simol, S-I-M-O-L. Again, I'm terrible with these names. Anyway, he said it hurt. He or she? Probably a he. I don't know. I can't even tell. It hurts just by looking at your foot. Yeah, trust me, it hurt. It must have been a nasty fall, but I'm glad you're feeling better. Until you get back on the bike again, I'll continue to ride my 2022 Honda ADV for you on the back roads of Atlanta. Nice. Well, hope Atlanta's well, and I appreciate your comment and, riding for me. But the good news is I might be able to ride actually this weekend. Like I said earlier, it's in my mind. I got to move the bike. It's not that hard to move it off the center stand, but my right ankle is very tender still, so I don't know if I want to chance it. I think I'll be okay if I come to like a red light or a stop sign and have to put my foot down, because I normally use my left foot to do that. I just don't want to put a lot of pressure on my right foot yet, but I think it'll be fine. I think I'm going to test that theory this weekend, maybe get a ride in. But yeah, thanks for all the well wishes and comments about the ankle. Again, I fell from a ladder. You can see my past videos on what happened there, but thank goodness I didn't fall off my bike or was in a serious accident off the bike. That would have been a lot worse. So luckily it was only a ladder. Even that, it could have been a lot worse, but hey, I'm mending. I'll get there and we'll carry on. Okay, let's move on to the next comment. You know, instead of trying to figure out these names, I'm just going to read what I can pronounce. So this next message is from Paul, let's just say. All right. Anyway, not having my own bike for many years, when I retired to Thailand, nice. I've always wanted to go to Thailand, guys. Last year, first thing I wanted to do was test ride a few bikes in the 300 to 500 cc range. I guess what put me off most about regular motorbikes is when I tried gear changing and not being able to wear nice shoes without worrying about ruining them with smudges from the rubber gear changer. That's a good point. When you're constantly shifting and you're trying to wear decent or nice looking shoes, you're going to destroy those shoes. It's just the nature of a manual shift bike. You know, most people just have boots for that reason, but trying to go somewhere when you got some nice shoes on, yeah, I can see where that could be a problem. That is actually a really good point. Anyway, he said, eventually I opted for the 350cc version of your bike and I'm loving it. So, my friend from Thailand, I would love to go to Thailand. I used to watch these cams that were in Thailand on the street corners, and everybody was riding bikes. I mean, you'd see a car or an SUV once in a blue moon, but most of the population are on these small displacement motorbikes. Hey, I'd fit right in there. Anyway, it's nice that somebody from Thailand reaches out to me, because it's always been one of my most favorite places to ever visit. So maybe one day I can get out there. But good point about the scuffing up the shoes on the tops. Yeah, I can see that, man. That's interesting. But good luck in Thailand, and I hope you're enjoying the 350cc bike. That's kind of like more than double mine, so I'm sure it's got plenty of power for the Thailand roads. And yeah, thanks for the comment. Okay, so this next comment, starting to get an accent, is a short one from Christian Bridges. How in the world do people ride for years and never have a license? Good question. And I think this was, I did a video on the pros and cons about the motorbike, and I must have mentioned in there, because I mention it quite often about, there's people that I hear, never got a motorcycle license, never bothered to have one, and they've been riding all their life without an endorsement. They just register the tags, I think, but they don't have an M endorsement on their license. That's just what I hear. I hear it all the time from riders and people that know riders. Well, my theory on this is probably because unless you get in an accident, if you have your tags on your bike and they're registered current, where you pay that calendar year and you got a tag on your bike, apparently they just leave you alone. Now, I'm not endorsing this. I'm not saying that you never have to worry about getting your motorcycle license. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just relaying what I hear from other people that have known riders all their lives, and they're like, they don't have their motorcycle license, but yet they ride and they get away with it. So again, maybe it's just because the police, maybe it's just in this area, maybe it's just Ohio, maybe it's just our country, I don't know, but I hear it all the time. I'm not kidding you. And I don't know what that's about. So if you are a policeman, any policeman out there that hears this video, how come motorbikes aren't stopped and made, like, just checked sometimes to make sure you got not only your tags, you can see that on the bike, but your license, your M endorsement? I guess it just doesn't happen. So I'd be really curious, if you are in law enforcement, why that's such a it's not really a problem, but it is, because generally if you don't have your license, then, I don't know. I know it's just a label. I know it's just that mark on your license, and maybe you've ridden for 25 years without a license. Does it make you any worse a rider than someone new that has gone through the course? They got their motorcycle license and are doing everything officially right, yet they still have accidents? I don't know. So I'm just I just think, if people ride motorbikes and they don't go through the process of getting their endorsement, that's just their choice. But according to the law, it's required, and I don't know what that's all about. So again, I'm not proficient enough in the law, especially the police force, to know why this isn't regularly checked or anything. Maybe it is. Maybe the sources that I'm getting this information from, and I've had many over my lifetime, just simply don't know, they're not aware, or it's gossip. Maybe it's just pure gossip where they just were told that one time and nobody really seems to know the answer. So how about you? Is there anyone out there listening that rides a motorbike and doesn't have your endorsement? You probably don't want to fess up to that, because chances are, if you did, somebody could find you and do it. But I don't think that's going to go to that extent. I really don't think police really care too much, as long as you're obeying the laws, right? Well, that's breaking the law right there, not having your license, right? I'm talking about your driving. If you're a good rider, you're not causing any problems. Why do I have an accent and all that jazz? Maybe they just leave you alone. I don't know. But very good point. And yeah, I'd love to hear the stories of you guys about this, because maybe it did. Maybe it's just Ohio. Maybe it's in my county. I don't know. Okay, we got another comment this one's from Tom. In 2019, I rode one all across Indonesia for 6 months and loved it. Wow. Today I found a 2023 with 800 miles for $3,500 in Eugene, Oregon, and snatched it up. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I would too, because, it's practically brand new. 800 miles, it's at the break-in period, so you may want to change the oil on that, because you're right at that threshold for the break-in. But anyway, change your oil, you should be great. Pick it up Tuesday. Fun to play with. I'm 68. All right, well, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad price, $3,500. Not at all for, it's practically new, like I said. So, but you rode one all across Indonesia for 6 months. My goodness. I'm wondering, is that an actual ADV 150? I forget what model year those hit the U.S. market, but see, mine's a 2021, and I didn't think they made them before that. So maybe in other countries they came out sooner. I don't know. Or maybe Tom's just talking about a general scooter. I don't know. But Man, I tell you what, Tom, that seat on mine on the ADV 150, not comfortable after about an hour. My tush seems to hurt after that. I'm like ready to get off the bike. So I'm curious, if you rode one all across Indonesia for 6 months, what type of seat it had on it. Was it the stock seat, or was that like an upgrade, like a nice Corbin seat or an aftermarket seat? Because that would really that would be a game changer for me. Now, I don't ride long distances, and partly the reason for that is because I don't like to sit on that seat too long. You know, I'm telling you, like 45 minutes to an hour riding that bike, I'm done. I'm ready to get off, just because that seat is like a freaking park bench. It's hard, and it's not very forgiving, and you know, they're not meant to ride long distance. So maybe I have the wrong type of bike for that. I get that, but I enjoy it regardless. But anyway, without rambling on, let me know what kind of seat that bike had on it and what it was. All right, I'm curious now. Anyway, thanks for the comment, Tom. I appreciate that. All right, let's get on to the next comment from Wild North Adventures. I love that name. Something I can actually say. So thank you, Wild North. I'm in Canada, and it's a federal law here. This is about a video that I did about helmet laws. Wearing a helmet. Choice. Is it a law? The loophole is you don't need a helmet if religion prevents you. I get that. Yep, true. There's a lot of things that you just have to say, well, that's against my religious beliefs, and they let you off the hook. I'm not going to go down the religious path, but I find that interesting. You know, it's just a belief. So you could say anything that says it's against my religion. But, you know, I guess one of those is the loophole with the helmet law. You know, don't have to wear a helmet. Against my religious beliefs. It's insanity. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, I understand people of faith that have very religious beliefs about this or that. I know plenty. I think it's a personal choice, but does the whole world have to agree with that choice, especially if it's for safety? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. So anyway, getting back to the comments. So although I wear a helmet, I do want to try riding without one. It may be for 10 seconds. It may be for 10 days. We have a trip planned at the end of the month to go across the country through the States, U.S. So I look forward to trying it. So cool. Wild North, it's a choice, as you know. I like to do it just around the neighborhood, right? With a pair of sunglasses on, just very slow and just feel that wind. But I would never go on the major roads where there's a lot of traffic and I'm going above speeds like 25. I just feel very vulnerable doing that. And that's just me. There's some people that have ridden decades, all their lives, without wearing a helmet. And again, it's whatever you get used to. And it's also a personal choice. Now in Canada, it's a federal law that you have to wear one. Apparently in the U.S., obviously it's not. So why the discrepancy? You know, if you're a true empathetic person and you really care about other people's lives, wouldn't you think that would be mandated across the world? No, it's not. So it's up to each country to decide on, you know, who they want to save, who they don't, I guess, just like religion. I don't know. It gets funny, but not funny, but I personally wear one because I don't want to take that chance. Even if I do make it out of an accident alive, I don't want to take that chance of having a brain injury or being like a vegetable or something where I'm not going to enjoy my quality of life anymore. I think I would rather not be here if that were the case. So again, if I want to be here, which I do, I think I have a lot of value left I can give people and a lot of stuff I want to do yet and enjoy this world. I'm wearing a helmet because I want to protect my brain, and I want to protect my aptitude and stuff, you know? And that's why I wear one. If some people don't care about that, that's up to them. We're all different. But anyway, Wild North, thanks for the comment. And yeah, we'll leave the religious talk alone because that never ends well. Everybody has such different beliefs in this world. It's amazing to me. I think those should probably be kept to themselves, and just as long as we get along with everybody else, that's the key, right? Hey, thanks again for the comment. All right, we're getting there, guys. Only 2 more comments left. I know this I tend to rattle on, sorry, but maybe you'll find it useful. This one stuck out at me. Came from a username of OWell2790. All right, check this one out. I am now 81 and bought my Honda Monkey in 2023. A lot of what you said about your ADV 150 applies to the Monkey too. I stepped down from a Honda ST 1100 because of many reasons. Do not like riding long distance anymore. bike became too heavy for me. Absolutely enjoy the little bike and ride a lot more. I just did not enjoy a 650-pound bike anymore. So again, I make that point a lot. Don't get a bike that's just too heavy. You're not going to enjoy it, and it's going to sit in your garage. The Monkey at 220 pounds is near perfect for me, and stay on 45 mile per hour roads now with little traffic, and can't complain about the 100 miles per gallon. And have even gotten 140 miles per gallon on the Monkey. Interesting. Thanks for the videos. Enjoy them. By the way, I have been riding for over 65 years. How about that? That might be a record on my channel as far as how long people have ridden. So, you know, I agree with everything he said, and it's practically what I say at my age, even being only, right, 58, I don't want a heavy bike anymore. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but if you find this video and you come across my channel, I'm all about supporting the smaller displacement motorbikes because they're fun, they're light, more maneuverability, better MPGs, usually cost less. You know, it just makes sense. You don't need a big heavy bike. You really don't. But I don't think people really understand these smaller bikes and how fun they can be. So that's why I kind of advocate, and it doesn't have to be a Honda ADV. There's all kinds of bikes that are under 300 pounds. But almost everybody that I've ever heard of that has ridden a smaller motorbike, they just love them. So give it a try. I mean, I think the world's changing. Not everybody wants a Harley. Not everybody needs a Harley. But if you choose to get an Indian, a Harley, a Triumph, whatever, make sure it's going to be a bike that you can handle. Don't buy something too heavy and bulky, too complicated, because it's just going to sit in your garage and you're just wasting your insurance, you know? So anyway, thanks again, oh well, for the comment. That really hit the mark because it's exactly what I talk about all the time. 65 years of riding, that's amazing, and I'm glad you're still with us, and I'm glad that you can leave these comments so we can all learn from that wisdom. So thanks, don't be a stranger, and again, thanks for the support from my channel, and you be safe out there, okay? Okay, and finally, last comment, guys. Thanks for being patient with me, and I'm going to end on this one because I got a comment from, I want to start a cleaning business, which is the handle of this viewer. Pretty cool name. I hope you do well in that cleaning business. That's not a bad choice. People love that career. And you can work for yourself and you can then hire people. I'm sure you know all about that. But anyway, thanks for the comment. This user said, yes, $2,700 for my 2022 ADV 150. $2,700. I think that's one of the lower prices I've seen on a 2022. I just don't know how many mileage this one has on it. But for only $2,700, you know, I mean, hell, even if you only ride it for a couple years and you part with it, you're not out much. You don't have to spend $10K on a bike. You know, you really don't. So thanks for the comment. I hope you do well in your business. And on that note, again, thanks for everybody that's watched the channel and supported me, even through my injury. So I should be able to start riding soon. Like I said, I'm hoping I can get a ride in this weekend, and I'll be sure to film that one and kind of update people on things. But that's it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.